Hey, you. Yeah, you. Who else would I be talking to, dumbass? Are you one of the unfortunate souls who has ended up traversing the dungeons of fear and hunger? Have you been brutally killed and beaten by every single monster in there? Perhaps even you could be looking for a teammate to help you. Well, worry not, my friend, because in this video, we're gonna be talking about one of those people. This special guest is none other than, drumroll please, Nas'hrah of the East. This very kind, friendly, and empathetic man is one of the teammates you can recruit in Fear and Hunger. Sadly, a lot of players don't know that they can actually recruit him because to recruit him you need a very specific set of steps, and normally by the time you know about his existence, one of the requirements can't be met, so you just kinda have to suck it up. So following the blatant success of my last video, I'm going to try something different. I'm not just going to give you his stats and the strategies. I'm actually going to speak about a lot of lore that he has because he's involved in a lot of things, okay? And he also has a lot of special scenes that I find absolutely hilarious. Like, bro is literally a D1 level hater. So with all of that said, I guess we can start the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and sacrifice your newborn. And remember, like always, this isn't my job. I'm just a masochist. So, Nas'hrah can be found in a level 2 blood pit after interacting with a pile of bodies. The game is like, are you sure you want to do this? And if you really do want to do that, get ready, motherfucker. So, if you didn't listen to the game's warnings and you go into the fight without having met the specific requirements, what happens is basically he laughs at you and then he summons a big ass monster which crushes you. Like, this man could not be a bigger hater. He literally laughs at you, is like, what a dumbass, and then annihilates you. You can actually run away from this fight, but the problem is if you run away, you can't find him again. If instead of running away, your first instinct was to do like me and think, there has to be a way to recruit this motherfucker. Worry not, because I'm going to give you the tutorial right now. So, the first step to recruiting the doom and terror of the modern man is to acquire the Eclipse Talisman. To obtain the Eclipse Talisman, you have to speak with one of the yellow mages and choose the correct dialogue options, which are: which gods do you serve, Grogorath, and can you teach about Grogorath? After choosing these dialogue options, he'll tell you to seek his master and he'll give you the Eclipse Talisman. The second step is to actually obtain the Cube of the Depths, but that's easy because it's part of the main progression of the story. So once you've met these two objectives, you have to go to the blood pits, find Nas'hrah, say, your pupil said you could teach me, and then just keep talking to him until he says, I admire your foolish bravery, and then you have to say, I feel something greater waiting for me in the depths. Then just agree to kneel before him, and perfect, you have Nas'hrah. Now that we've acquired the man, the myth, the legend of the East, Nas'hrah, the video's really started because there's a lot of things we have to talk about. Nas'hrah's hunger, mind, and body bars are basically useless. The only one that you actually need is mind for spells, but the other ones do not matter for anything. Basically, my boy Nas'hrah is goated. Luckily, I can't give you any strategy because he's a very easy character to use. Just give him your strongest spells and let him go ham on everybody. What I do personally is I just give him the Sorcerer's Stone, which recovers mind each turn, and I just let him cast the strongest spells I can find. Also, I have to mention, Pheromones does not work on Nas'hrah. Even though the wiki says so, this is not true. Imagine just having a invincible tank. So now that we've gotten everything gameplay wise out of the way, I'm going to speak more about the lore and who Nas'hrah actually is. Nas'hrah is the new god of enlightenment that came after Beto but before Valtail. Nas'hrah actually defeated Beto to take his place, with the new god stating that they had no idea how Beto fell for his tricks. I have to mention that if Nas'hrah is in your party at the moment where they tell you this, he actually comes out and burns one of the new gods. D1 hater. He was also the former Sultan of the Eastern Sanctuaries, and he's the one who created the Yellow Mages. The Yellow Mages don't only follow Nas'hrah, they also follow Grogorath, which is weird, but it makes sense. We'll get to why it makes sense in a moment, don't worry. We don't know when he rose to godhood, but we know that he was born in between the 700s and the 800s. Lore-wise, him being in your party is very useful because every time you find a new god or something relating to them, he gives you a bit of lore. His main goal is to make them suffer as much as they can, so good for you, buddy. So, Nas'hrah's purpose in the story is to help you find the laboratory beneath Mahabharata so that you can make your own husk and sacrifice it to Ronchambara. He actually does make a husk, but after making it, he says the technology in the laboratory is far too primitive and he incinerates it. Apart from that, in the main storyline, all he does is be angry at the new gods, burn shit, and then yap when you want to sit on the golden throne. Surprisingly, this is one of Nas'hrah's more empathetic moments because he warns you about becoming a new god and the fact that it always has the same end. This is a problem if you're trying to do either the C ending or the D ending because he doesn't follow you into the void. This, especially if you're in terror starvation mode, is a big problem because it leaves you with one less party member against the Piss King and Squidward. Sadly, this isn't the only ending you can't complete with Nas'hrah. I don't know how many people still haven't played Fear and Hunger, but I'm gonna leave a timestamp just in case if you don't want spoilers. Now that all the little crybabies are gone, I can continue. In Fear and Hunger's ending B, the one in which you fight Grograth at the end of the gauntlet, if Nas'hrah is present in your party, he starts insulting him. He's like, "Grograth, you miserable fool," and then Grograth annihilates him, like one taps him, just. We know this is canon because in Termina, Osa carries his incinerated head around, so. I personally like this scene very much because it helps really accentuate the difference between old gods and new gods. Like, Grograth doesn't even waste his breath trying to say something to Nas'hrah, he just explodes him. So, now that I've spoken about everything important lore-wise, we can get to the final part of the video. Here I'm going to be speaking about some of the special interactions and scenes that he has with the player character. If you try and sacrifice Nas'hrah, or make a marriage with him like I tried, he burns you to a crisp. Sadly, you can't breed Nas'hrah. I also have to mention that if you succumb to the miasma's influence and kill your party members, he laughs at you like words cannot describe how much of a hater this man is. He also, obviously, can't pull out the blue sin, and if you ask him to do it, he calls you one of his worst court jesters. Well, I think I've spoken about everything I can about Nas'hrah. I truly don't know if these videos are entertaining. I don't know, maybe I should record my voice in a different way or something. If you have any tips or any suggestions, leave them down in the comments. And hey, I hope this guide helps you traverse through the dungeons of Fear and Hunger a bit easier. I think I already told you guys to like and subscribe, so do a backflip and comment with your pinky finger. And remember, this isn't my job, I'm just a masochist. See you all next time.